So there's a question I've been pondering, and it's based on people asking me this question. And my thoughts are, well, it's a matter for the individual, but there are advantages and disadvantages that we need to consider. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about whether or not to get a diagnosis for ADHD, autism, any spectral issue that you feel you may be living with. Now, there's a lot of chatter on social media, and I have discussed it before, about people going on sites saying, oh yeah, I'm self-diagnosed, and then they seem to be trying to outdo each other in their symptoms as to who's got the worst trauma, who suffers the most from the issues that they have. And I've got no doubt that there's a lot of people out there with a lot of issues. That is the modern world. That's just the world that we live in. But getting an official diagnosis does have advantages. A, you know what the issue is. B, you're able to access help. And C, you're able to access the proper medication. And what are the disadvantages then? The disadvantages are that you have a label. And as I found out myself, there is a tendency to play up to the diagnosis. So I mentioned before, I've been married 3 times. I'm not the most successful at relationships, but my wife at the time did tell me once I had a diagnosis, I got worse. And the reason I got worse was because I felt that all of a sudden I had an excuse for behaving in a certain way that I didn't have before. I've got 2 children diagnosed with ADHD and 2 that are definitely on the neurodivergent spectrum, but neither of them particularly want to get a diagnosis because they don't want the label that's attached to it. Ultimately, I think it's a matter for you as an individual. Now, as I said before, no 2 ADHDers are exactly alike. There are a lot of commonalities in the way things affect us, the way we behave, and there are some advantages and disadvantages to being neurodivergent. So ultimately, I haven't got an answer to the question, apart from saying it's a personal journey. ADHD and ADHD diagnosis is just the start of a journey of understanding, because up until that point, you don't fully understand what you're dealing with, you're only guessing. So once you have that diagnosis, it really is like a light being clicked on and go, oh my God, that explains why I felt so different, why I'm so weird in many respects. I now have an explanation. But you need to find out more about it. So you do more research and more research you do, or at least the more research I've done, the more things clicked into place. And I understand myself a lot better now. But the biggest thing that I tell myself now is I have played on it and it's cost me every time. So there is a tendency to be as normal as I can, certainly in the workplace, and mask, and that's never going to change, no matter how much I want people to understand the way I am and the way I can be. The fact is, I live in a neurotypical world. And I wonder what that was blowing behind me. But I live in a neurotypical world, and I have to make accommodations for that. I can't expect everybody around me to accommodate me. And when we do that, and I am aware of some ADHDers who do exactly that, they say, well, I'm not going to change, I'm going to be myself and fuck the lot of you. this is my issue and you have to deal with it. It's a very selfish and immature attitude. We have to get along with everybody. But like I said, it's a difficult world we live in, and a diagnosis can be quite an expensive process. But trust me, it is worth it, at least from my point of view. So good luck with your journey, and I wish you all the best. Thank you for listening.